I'm nervous. So if you watched my Everything I Knit in 2020 video, you will have seen me talk about my Yarl cardigan, which I got to the point of steeking and wasn't brave enough to do. And well, I promised that when I finished my current work in progress, I would actually get on with the steeks and cut the steeks on my Yarl cardigan. Well, here it is, my most recent finished knit, which is this 1940s pullover. So it's time to get steeking. So I've read the instructions for how to do it several times, so I'm pretty certain I know what I'm doing. But to make sure that I actually do it, I'm making this little video to hold myself accountable because I'm so nervous. But I had lots of reassuring comments on that video as well, so I'm going to talk you through what I do and actually finally get on with finishing this cardigan. So the first stage is to sew a crochet reinforcement between steek stitches 2 and 3. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first step is to crochet along here and then come back down the other side, and then you cut up the middle. I'm not brilliant at crochet, but I've got my crochet hook and I've got my yarn, so let's give this a go. So let's stitch. So that's the thing, it's got to be the left hand side of stitch number 2, but the right hand side of stitch number 3. Here we are, this is stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the steek. To crochet this reinforcement for the steek, we're going to go through the right side of stitch number 2, which is this one, and then the left side of stitch number 3, which is that one. These 2 loops from the knitting then act as the 1 loop you usually have on your hook when crocheting. Pull the yarn through and then work in single crochet, or double crochet if you're British like me, picking up the 2 loops as 1 from the left hand leg of steek stitch 2 and the right hand leg of steek stitch 3. So I've started at the bottom and done my first line of crochet right the way up to the shoulder. So now I'm going to turn the whole thing around and go back down the other side, going between stitch number 4 and stitch number 3 again. So like that. So once again, crocheting down the length of the armhole, this time picking up the stitches from the left hand leg of steek stitch 3 and the right hand leg of steek stitch 4. As you can see, I'm not really very good at crochet, and the confusing difference between US and UK terms has meant I've never really gotten my head around the patterns, but I can just about crochet a border around the edge of my knitting, so I was feeling reasonably confident that I was doing this right. I was a little bit confused by what to do at the cast off and cast on edges, so I kind of just made it up and hoped I had secured the right stitches. This was only partially successful, and I ended up having to go in and stitch some reinforcements later. Okay, so crochet reinforcement is in place and it now looks like this. And it's got this weird sort of ridge down the middle, which means it's time to cut it. Cutting it was definitely very counterintuitive, and the fuzzy, grippy nature of the Shetland wool meant that it was kind of difficult to get the scissors into that little gap. Again, I also had no idea what to do with the cast on and cast off edges, so I ended up just cutting through them and hoping for the best, which was not a brilliant strategy. Things got a bit easier once I could open up the armhole a bit and stretch the stitches apart, but I still definitely ended up snipping some things I wasn't supposed to. I think I did it. My only worry is the very bottom bits where like the cast on and cast off were look a bit precarious, shall we say? Like, can you see here? I don't know. Doesn't seem to be laddering though, so I think I've gotten away with it. I might just put a few reinforcing stitches in it though. But apart from that, I did my first steek. So now I can finally pick up the stitches and carry on with this cardigan. Oh, and obviously I've got to do the other sleeve as well, but I'm done for today. That's enough. I went along and picked up the stitches for the armhole from steek stitches 1 and 5, but I'd forgotten to stitch down the cut edge of the steek. I remembered to do this when I eventually cut the second armhole, and it worked a lot better. You can see in a few places that the stitches did pull out and start unravelling, which was absolutely terrifying. I'm not sure if I did something wrong here, because many of the comments on my last knitting video had assured me that knitting doesn't unravel sideways, but somehow it started to happen on mine. Typical. So here we are, ready to carry on knitting. Thank you for coming with me on this little journey into my first ever steeking project. I hope maybe you found this video useful if you're also interested in doing some more ferrule knitting and possibly have a steek in your near future. I think it's going to be okay, you know. There was a little bit where one of the stitches pulled out, and I think that might be because I didn't quite catch it. You can kind of see here properly. So hopefully I can sort of stitch that in place when I stitch down the edge of this, when I stitch down the cut edge. But apart from that, I can't wait to carry on and finish this cardigan. So thanks very much for watching. See you next time.